Hello, my friends. Today, everyone is talking about how the active phase of the war is supposed to end by the end of this year, which means within the next 3 months. That would be great news. It seems that the Russians also understand that things might freeze along the current front lines, so they are rushing to capture as much territory as possible. As a result, heavy fighting continues along the entire front line, though the situation at the border remains stable for now. In the Kursk direction, Ukrainian forces have paused their offensive actions, and after the Russians made a slight breakthrough, they've stopped their counteroffensive, stabilizing the front line. The only thing the Russians can do now is bombard border settlements with both artillery and aviation. In the Kharkiv direction, Russians' operation has completely failed as there is no activity around the village of Lyptsi. After the Ukrainian forces pushed them back from Vovchansk, the Russians still hold on to the last two streets, but there is no forward movement at all. Their plan to advance towards the Ukrainian forces' main defensive lines hasn't succeeded. But in other directions, the situation is more challenging. The Russians continue their attacks on the Kupiansk front. So far, only shelling has been recorded near Kupiansk itself, but further south, near Kurakhove, the activity is intense. The Russians are trying to storm the village and are shelling all the nearby settlements. Although there have been any changes over the past day, this situation remains very difficult. In the Svatove area, the Russians continue their assaults on Lozova and battles are ongoing near Stelmachivka. There is a constant shelling, but they've had no new successes here. Further south, the situation is even more complex. The attacks on Chernyshina, Druzhelyubivka, Kharkivka, and Makivka haven't ceased. Over the past day, there have been more than 10 assaults, and recently they've managed to get dangerously close to these settlements. Now they are trying to break through into the villages, but the Ukrainian forces are repelling all attacks so far, successfully holding the line. The front line remains unchanged for the day. In the Crimea direction, the Russians are assaulting Nevsky and attempting to advance southward through the fields. Likewise, the fighting around Torsk hasn't ceased, but here the Ukrainian forces are successfully repelling all attacks. The front line has remained unchanged over the past day. In the Siversk area, the battles near Bilohorivka continue and the Russians are storming Verkhnyo-Kamensk. But as before, there have been no changes in the situation. In the Chasiv Yar direction, Russian forces are attempting to break through toward Minkivka, seeking to gradually expand their northern flank. However, the Ukrainian forces, understanding the severity of the situation, are striving to repel all attacks, ensuring no new Russian advances. Additionally, battles near Kalinivka continue, and Russian assaults on Stupachki are relentless. This situation is dire as the Russians spare no resource, trying at any cost to extend the front line toward these settlements, which could worsen the situation in Chasiv Yar. Meanwhile, assaults near Bilahora also persist. The southern flank remains the most challenging. If Russian forces manage to break through and secure a foothold here, the situation could deteriorate not only in Chasiv Yar, but also in Kostiantynivka. However, the front line has held steady over the past day. In the Toretsk direction, the situation remains highly tense as Russian forces continue to make gradual, albeit slow, progress. Advancing several hundred meters at a time, they are pushing toward Sherbynivka, assaulting Toretsk, and trying to force Ukrainian forces out of the outskirts of New York. Shelling in the area remains intense, operating at a full capacity. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russian forces continue their attacks with increased intensity. Over the past day, there have been 53 assaults as they try to break through closer to the highway. However, they haven't achieved any notable success. Fighting is ongoing near Novogrodivka and Krasny Yar, where the Russians are desperately attempting to advance, as any progress here would bring them closer to their main objectives. The Ukrainian forces continue to push back these attacks, and there have been even reports of successful counterattacks in recent days. Further south, battles are taking place around Tukurina, but no new advances have been made by the Russians, and the front line remains unchanged over the past day. In the Kurakhove direction, Russian forces are persistently storming Maximilianivka and Katerinivka. As for Hostre, the Ukrainian side has yet to confirm any Russian success, though reports suggest that village may already be in the gray zone. Some closed sources have confirmed full occupation of the settlement, and geolocated footage has shown a significant column of Russian equipment entering the area. It seems the Russians have managed to advance as far as the Selidovska correctional facility, and they continue to push forward, sparing no equipment. There is hope that the defense line here might be able to hold their advance, though it remains uncertain how strong the defensive positions are in this sector and how long Ukrainian forces can hold out under continuous cap bomb strikes. In the Vuhledar direction, the situation remains tense. The Russians continue to storm the city, and there are increasing reports confirming that Russian forces are entering parts of Vuhledar. It appears that the Russians are gradually advancing. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the Russians are currently focusing on Shalon without launching new attacks along the front line. However, Ukrainian forces report that a Russian offensive may be in preparation on this front. In the Kherson direction, heavy shelling continues, and attacks around Hola Prystan show no signs of stopping. Additionally, due to the shelling of Odessa, there are reports of power outages in some areas. Meanwhile, Putin continues to threaten with nuclear strikes.
На что еще особо хотел бы обратить ваше внимание. В обновленной редакции документа агрессию против России со стороны любого неядерного государства, но с участием или при поддержке ядерного государства предлагается рассматривать как их совместное нападение на Россию. Четко фиксируются условия перехода России к применению ядерного оружия. Будем рассматривать такую возможность уже при получении достоверной информации о массированном старте средств воздушно-космического нападения и пересечении ими нашей государственной границы. Имея в виду самолеты стратегической или тактической авиации, крылатые ракеты, беспилотники, гиперзвуковые и другие летательные аппараты.
Friends, I'm pausing here to emphasize his statement. He said that if there is confirmed information about missiles or drones being launched towards Russian territory, they will use nuclear weapons. It seems that Putin understands that attacks on Russian territory will only increase, and they are revising their nuclear doctrine to prevent further strikes on the Russian Federation.
Оставляем за собой право применить ядерное оружие в случае агрессии против России и Белоруссии, как участника союзного государства. С белорусской стороной, с президентом Беларуси все эти вопросы согласованы. В том числе, если противник, используя обычное оружие, создает критическую угрозу нашему суверенитету. В завершение отмечу, что все уточнения являются глубоко выверенными и соразмерными современным военным угрозам и рискам в отношении Российской Федерации. Давайте приступим к работе. Слово министру обороны Андрею Арамовичу Белоусову.
But of course, he confidently forgot that their nuclear tests have been largely unsuccessful. Even Russian war correspondents openly admit this, and Solovyov went so far as to suggest removing Putin, saying that all they have left of their nuclear arsenal is just empty threats. However, we should still avoid underestimating the enemy. Beyond nuclear threats, they still have a lot of cannon fodder. And here the forces are uneven. We also know that Russia has effectively declared mobilization by adding 180,000 troops. They cleverly disguised it by signing a decree stating that they're simply increasing the size of the Russian army. This allows them to carry out mobilization without causing panic. Meanwhile, Zelensky has warned that Russia is preparing an attack on nuclear power plants.
Один из его методов – нападение на нашу энергетическую инфраструктуру. Это преднамеренные российские атаки на наши электростанции и всю энергосистему. На сегодняшний день Россия уничтожила все наши тепловые электростанции и большую часть наших гидроэлектростанций.
Foreign analysts have already estimated that for such an attack, the Russians could launch between 200 and 300 drones to overwhelm Ukraine's air defense systems, followed by Kinjal-type cruise missiles. As a result, Ukraine's air defenses may struggle to handle such a massive assault on the nuclear power plants. The Russians' goal is clear: to plunge all of Ukraine into a complete blackout. And that's all from me. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.